In this video, I want to introduce you to Pagelines 2.0. Pagelines is a WordPress theme frameworks, which means you can use Pagelines to build themes. Using a frameworks really cuts down on the time that's needed to build a theme, and this version of Pagelines has done a great job of really adding functionality for click and drag to be able to quickly design and develop themes. So let's go and take a look at Pagelines. This is the first panel you'll see when you go into Pagelines settings. By the way, this is a demo site up on the pagelines.com website that I'm working inside. It's my own little demo site. In the website setup panel, under global settings, one thing you might do in here is change the logo that's being used. I'm going to keep it as a default, which is the Pagelines logo. Then we can start getting into some interesting aspects of Pagelines. In the layout editor, this is where you can control the size of your page, the width of your page, as well as the width of the different sections of the page. So we're going to go with right now it's a right sidebar layout. Just to show you what this site looks like, I'm going to click on this tab here to show you. This is an actual page that I created inside this demo site, and we do see the right sidebar on this page. Let's go back, and inside this layout editor, let's change our default layout to a left sidebar. Down here, I'm going to choose the same panel or selection here, left sidebar. After I do that, I can then edit the width of these sidebars. Let's say I just want to make this a little bit wider. So I can do that visually simply by clicking and dragging. Click Save Options. It's going to save the new changes, which is the sidebar on the left and a wider sidebar. Let's go back and refresh this page in the browser window to see what that change looks like. You see the left sidebar. Also see a little more space in between the sidebar, the left sidebar, and the actual content. All right, so that's done in the layout editor of Pagelines. Very quick and easy. Let's look at the next panel here in the global settings called Color Control. This is where you can set the colors of text, text links, your background colors, etc. And for this one, just to keep it simple, we're going to leave everything kind of white, as we noticed on the actual page when we looked at it. But let's add a setting here. Up here I'm going to select this content width page, or option, I should say, and then I'm going to turn on this content shadow. Again, this is used, make notes over here, and Pageline does a great job of this, of including necessary information next to different options. So this is used for fixed width mode. And this kind of just sets apart the actual page area from the background. So as soon as that is saved, we'll refresh our page. And what that does, notice this nice little border it puts around, so it kind of sets off the content and actual information from the background. All right, so that was the color control panel. Again, there's a lot more in there that you can play with and tweak. Typography, another nice feature. If I want to change the fonts being used in different aspects of a page, say for example, this is my font I'm using for the text headers. We're going to change that to, I don't know, let's do a dancing script. Notice these have a star or a Google or a G next to them. G means it's a Google font. A star means it's a web-safe font. So we'll change your headings to be that font. I could change the primary font being used, secondary font, which would be in your menus, your subtitles, etc. Just a lot of options here in setting your type in different aspects or different type of content areas on your page. Click Save Options. So one thing we did make a change here was on the headings. So let's go back into our page and do a refresh. And we should see the headings take on a different font, which we see right here. Now, I didn't show this, but if we go back here real quickly, just for FYI, you can actually edit that font, different aspects of it, the weight, style, letter spacing, etc. Let's go to the next option here, the header and footer inside the global settings of Pagelines. Okay, drop-down navigation, different options to set that apart a little bit more. It's going to include a search field in the header area. You set your options for your social icons, as well as down below here you'll see the entering your information to get into those different social accounts, social media accounts, I should say. You can also change the footer logo if you want to do that inside your footer area, etc. So I didn't change anything here per se. So we'll leave that as is. Let's go to blog and post. Now this is an interesting one. This is where you can set up how you want your blog pages to look, kind of the format of the blog pages. So before we make changes here, let's go back to our little demo site here. I should actually open up the blog page in a different window. So right now the blog page looks like this. So we have these features, which I will talk about in just a bit, up at the top of the page. Then we have a couple what I would call highlighted articles, 2 of them, and then below that we have articles listed in kind of a box format. So I want to explain how this format, why this format is happening the way it is. So you go back to our blog and post setting inside global settings. You can choose a magazine layout mode, which is what we saw there, and that's what is selected here. So that's why I kind of see that those highlight across the top, and then those highlight posts across the top, and then the other posts below it. And then here we can select how we want those to actually appear. Do we want it to be an image with a title excerpt right below it? Let's make a change here. Let's do a title across the entire top with an image to the left and the excerpt on the right. Again, you can change the number of full width posts that you want. We're going to leave that at 2. Click Save Options. So one thing we changed there is how the post will be formatted. Originally, it was the title. The title and text to the right of the actual thumbnail image. We changed that so the title should go across the entire excerpt there, or image and excerpt, I should say. If we do a refresh of that. If we scroll down here and look at the individual posts, it starts with the title at the top, followed by the thumbnail and the excerpt on the right. So that's the blog and post page. Let's go to some other options that I want to highlight inside Pagelines. The other important aspect of Pagelines is the templates option. Let me kind of explain what we see here, because it can be confusing initially. This is a general page layout. A web page usually has a header, the content area, and a footer. Pagelines added another footer called More Foot above the regular footer. So these are all global except for this page template, which can change, but the header and footer areas are global in nature. When I highlight page templates, below that, I get a list of all the different templates available to us inside Pagelines. So we have just the regular page templates, template 1 through template 5, and then we have these special kind of templates for a certain type of information. For now, let's just select template 2, which is just a normal template. And then to the right of this, we see this content area with 2 sidebars and a wrap. That doesn't mean that template 2 has 2 sidebars, whatever we set up for template 2 to have. But this area here is kind of like inside the page template. We could also add other what we call sections above or below this area inside page templates. Let's glance at what template 2 looks like as it is right now. So we have page template selected down here. So right now it consists of a carousel, which is I'll show it to you in a sec. Carousel and then the content area. Now to show this to you, I'm going to go to our demo page here and check to see what template it's assigned to, and is assigned to template 2. So if we do a refresh, or if we go check our page, I should say, this is why this shows up here at the top. This is the carousel feature that we set up for template 2 to have. Let's look at another template. Let's go to template 3. Template 3 includes a features, which is like a slideshow, boxes, which are like columns across the width of the page, and then content. So if we change our page, inside WordPress to use template 3, it should look a little bit different when we refresh this page. We'll update this page inside WordPress. Go to our little demo page and do a refresh. Now we have a lot more happening here. Now, I got a little busy here at the top. This here is the features, which is a slideshow. This particular features features the different aspects of Pagelines, but you can set up the features to be any slides and content text that you want. And then here's our boxes that was a part of this template. And again, you can set up these boxes to say whatever you like, include an image to the side or on the top of it. And then finally comes the content of the page that we saw before. So that's what template 3 looks like. So you can see how quickly and easily you can change how these pages look inside Pagelines. And if I wanted to change what template 3 looked like, let's say that feature is just kind of too much for that page, I'm going to remove that from there. So template 3 no longer has features. Go back to our demo and do a refresh. You see that our features has disappeared from the top, and I would just start with our 3 boxes across the top, along with the content of the page. Let's go back to our page template. So far we've looked at this section of the page, and we looked at how to set up various templates that make up this area. We notice for template 3, if we scroll down, the sections that make up template 3 are the boxes across the top and the contents. What makes up the contents? That's where this area comes into play. If I click on the content area up here, again, I'm still on template 3, and scroll down, we have 2 sections that make up the contents area. The post loop, which is, in this case, it's a page, so the content of the page, along with the universal sidebar, which happens to be empty at this point, so it's not showing up. If you look at the sidebar for the entire site, again, sidebars are global. We notice the sidebar for the entire site is made up of 2 aspects, actually 2 types of sidebars, a tertiary sidebar and the primary sidebar. I point these out because we have control over these areas on each individual page as well. So to see that, if I go back to Edit Page, a little demo page here, and scroll down here, when using Pagelines, you can have meta settings per individual page. So it picks up all the defaults that we just set up. Then you also can control those defaults inside each individual page. So for example, let's say on our demo page, we really don't want to see that top sidebar, the tertiary sidebar. So I'm going to turn that on and then save this. If we go back to our edit page, this is our edit page. Right now we see this Jigo Shop as our first item here. This is actually the tertiary sidebar. The rest of these is the other sidebar that's being used to make up our entire sidebar. So if I do a refresh on this page, notice that top item, which was the Jigo Shop, has now disappeared. So Pageline gives you extreme control over each individual section on the individual pages as well. That's a quick introduction to Pagelines. This is just touching the very tip of the iceberg. There's a whole lot more to explore and to do inside Pagelines. It's fantastic frameworks, makes it very quickly and easy to set up themes that can be used on WordPress sites. And I encourage you, go ahead and explore Pagelines a bit more. You can get a demo of it on pagelines.com if you'd like. All right, that's Pagelines version 2.0.